Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at kind of what I've done with my layout and recently since that last video I made. So I would like to start over here. This is the kind of the other peninsula turn loop, whatever you want to call it. This area of the layout. Now you can kind of notice here, it looks completely different than the other places that are flat with homosote because there's no homosote next to the track. Now, what I did was I took my oscillating saw, this little bad boy, and I went through and I cut this all out without having to take the entire track, without having to take all the homosote, all the everything downstairs, and take everything apart, and be inoperable in this entire area for however long I'd be working on it, because, you know, right now it's pretty busy, and I only have the weekends, and I have other stuff I have to do for other people on the weekends. So I can't really spend an entire weekend working on this, because if I could, I probably would. But I can't. And also with travel and everything, it's been a whole mess. I'll leave that out. But I did this because I didn't want to have to, make everything inoperable. So, great way to do it. I'll go back, and I'll kind of work on this as I get to it. Probably the next step is taking all the track off from basically this. You see this, where that is. This is kind of where the homosote ends. And that is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on using this piece of plywood and see if I can get all of these pieces onto this one piece of plywood, because this is going to be great for over here, this side, because also I use less plywood, so I have more plywood in the future. But over here is going to be a industrial section. Now, what it looks like I don't know. I'm probably going to just guess as I go through, because I know there's going to be a runaround track. I know there's going to have to be industries. I know there's going to have to be room underneath for switch machines. That's kind of all I have to worry about right now, which is great. And I'll get to that once I figure that out. I have no idea how I'm going to build it yet because of clearances on here. I don't know if a 2x or a 1x4 will clear this. Maybe too short. One thing about running, steamer equipment is, nothing is, you don't have to worry about intermodal trains or any fancy super tall trains. Kind of going along here, you can see that this is not that great. I admit that. But there is also kind of the thing, it works, and this entire section works, and for me to make this work, I had to make this entire section not work. Now, could this section be better, the yard section? Yes, but it works. And for me to do that would be way too much of an undertaking for right now, because I just kind of want to get my layout. The first goal is to get everything running, being able to run a train all the way around, and having some kind of ops outside of here. That's the first goal, kind of the only goal right now. Everything else is kind of, if I get to it, great. If I don't, great. That's kind of how I feel right now. A lot of this will get changed anyway, but not for right now. Over here, I've been doing a lot of work. This has all been a lot of work. Just kind of going back and tweaking it. The track work is actually, I'm really happy with the track work. So what I just did basically was, this is all just flat. So I just took the track off, and I tried to keep the track in as circular as possible, because it's all soldered. And then I just cut the homosote out, and I just lifted it. So, it was really helpful having already a layout there, because it all worked. And the track work I had tested for a year, and it could run, and this is the best track work I did, because the other places I followed my AnyRail when I printed it out on paper, and it was all cockeyed, not working. Now, what's nice about this is, with adding all this elevation, is I have some dioramas that a friend built who recently passed away, and I bought the dioramas. So you can see here, I did this as the intro picture because it looked nice. The South River Model Works kit, But before, I would have had to cut out and find a place where there wasn't a support to drop it in. But now I can just build up and connect it. So that's what's nice. Also having elevation. Elevation makes the layout look better. Even if it's just below track height, I couldn't really do that because of how I built it. Now over here was when I wasn't gonna change anything. You can see here what I did was a very poor job. I just basically put this down and did this because originally there was going to be a logging camp there. I did a very poor job. Please don't judge me when I made bad mistakes. But that's about it. Now the final topic that I want to talk about is adding weight to your engines. When you should always add a weight to your engines because you can always pull more. And they also run better. They run better. They run better through switches, and they have better pickup. So this is a perfect example. I have the front off because I was making another take, and I got too involved in trying to put the front back on, and I lost track of where my camera was. So it was just facing over there the entire time, jiggling a lot. But you can see in here how there is tire weight shoved in there. And I don't know if you can kind of see, but that round weight is the original weight that comes in the engine. So, what I've been doing is, especially ones that already have DCC, this is DCC even though it's unpainted. It's a whole nother video I can make about that. It just really helps with running, because this originally, I think, only pulled two or three of these cars, and now we can pull all 5 with ease. Now this is not going to be a passenger engine, this is going to be more of a freight engine. And I could originally pull 8 hopper cars up a grade. Which 8 hopper cars for a Berkshire is kind of melodramatic, kind of boring. But when I add all this weight, I could then pull 15, which is a better number. It's not going to be a coal drag engine because they were more high-speed freight. I have coal drag engines that I'll use instead, which will also have added weight. But yeah, I use car tire weights, which are great because they're just basically stick-on. So if the sticky tape goes bad, you just put more sticky tape on. They're basically just tiny little weights. I use them in cars. I've used them in everything. They're great. That's about it. But that is about it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, or I don't know, general making fun of me, I don't really care. Go ahead. It makes me laugh if you make fun of me and it's actually funny. If it's boring, don't post it, but it's gotta be funny. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.